We are live, not Memorex. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening, depending on where you're calling in from. We do have some people in faraway places. Give me 1 second here. I'm going to share my screen. We're going to dive right into it. We got some action happening on the charts this morning. Just now starting, rather, I should say. All right, everybody can hear me and see me okay?
Yep.
Yep, I can hear you.
All set.
All right, all right, all right. Here we go. Looks like chat is giving signals too. Let's see what's going on over here. Chat is giving signals, anticipating long entries on links, blah, blah, blah. Okay. I did give a long signal last night at almost 11 p.m. And it finally came down to that level here. Right here was the 112 at this red line. It bounced, went all the way to an all-time high at 124. Let me just get my microphone down here. All the way up to 124.5 and then all the way back down to 112. And looks like it's possibly double bottoming right now. This is more of an up-close view. This is the apex we're winding into from the top all the way down to the floor. Either break through the bottom and go a little lower or break to the upside. I did give a long last night, entry 113.301, a little bit higher than I did say that I am long main account. We'll add to it, hitting near bottom, dip to the 112.400 range. And then after that, after finally testing the 112 we discussed, either we bounce here or we are in for further dumping, but the breakout is imminent. Tune in today. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, here we are. That's just an update from there. We did come down all the way to 112.390 right here. Actually, 112.306 was the low right there. And bounced. And where did we bounce to? We only bounced up to the top of the downward trending channel so far. If I keep lining this up, line this up all the way to the top here. That's basically where we're heading right now. And so we're waiting for this breakout, which is imminent. I am on a lower time frame here. If I go up a little higher to the hourly, it might be easier to line this up. Let me get rid of some of this other stuff. I got too many lines going on here. Might look a little confusing. What's this one? Don't need that anymore. This is the previous bull flag right here from the 112. We broke out to the upside, went up to 104, came back down and bounced on the top of this previous resistance line as support. And this overall upward trending support line that goes all the way back to when we were down here at 98K. I think it goes back even further. Let's bring it all the way to here when we were down here at 74.5. So we have this upward trending support, and that's what we broke through after hitting another all-time high here. Every other time we hit an all-time high, just so you guys realize, since then, since the 74.5, after breaking out of this downward trending falling wedge, we hit an all-time high here at 112, and we stayed above this line. We came down and retested it. We broke out here, hit an all-time high here at 123, and we stayed above this line. And then we broke out and hit another all-time high here at 124.5. And this time we bounced on it, but then we fell through and retested as resistance. And then we fell through the previous bull flag resistance that was support. After breaking through this upward trending support, we broke through that as well. And then we came down and we're retesting not only the bottom of the bull flag, but also the previous support at 112 right here, this line. And that's what we're bouncing on right now. That is the moment of truth. That's why I say the breakout is imminent. And in my post, I said it's either going to, I know that might sound obvious, that it's either going to break out to the upside or break out to the downside, but these are the only two choices, and we are in this wedge right now. We're in this apex right now, which is, this is the downward trending resistance, and this is the floor. And it might seem obvious that only those two things can happen, and that may not sound like a for sure direction, because it is not. There is no for sure direction. I did talk about an Elliott wave yesterday. Pattern way up here. This was yesterday at 11 or 12 noon, 11 a.m., 11:50 a.m. I posted this possible Elliott wave coming down here, and down here is the 112. And as you can see, this is what it would look like, bouncing here maybe at 114 or going a little further, and then possibly coming up to the 119 area and then coming down to the 112. But right here is where we were when I posted that, and it certainly could come down a little further first before bouncing. And possible Elliott wave in effect, could see a little lower before pumping back up to the 119 level, only to come back down. And that's what we're seeing right now, is the little lower. I think it was right here when I posted that. I can't remember. It was like right up here, bouncing on the 114. We broke through that. We come back up to retest and then drop a little lower to the 112. And it looks like we bounced on the 112, but we didn't break out of this downward trending line yet. That's for sure. That's hopefully coming here shortly. I do have two long positions, the one that I gave yesterday and the other one I just added. Actually, the one I gave yesterday and the one I added even before then, when it wasn't even confirmed yet, but which is a higher entry at 113.470. So right now the price is 113.5. I'm in profit a little bit. When it pumped up to here a few minutes ago before this call, I was up about $1,000, but it's come down a little bit, and I think it's hopefully after this bounce right here will break out. That would be a nice run up. And that would be a good completion of the Elliott wave. I'm sorry, guys. My phone's blowing up. I just see why. So let's see. Any questions about that so far? As far as Ethereum and XRP, everything kind of dumping, correlating with Bitcoin. They're all doing the same thing, coming down to their support level. This is the level I told you that we will probably come down to right here in the grayed out area. That's what we're hitting right now on XRP. We did get sub $3 again. Now we bounced on 281. It's 291 right now. We're hoping to break back out. This is the middle line right here. A lot of times, as we say, we come down to the middle line before breaking out. It's kind of where we're at right now on this giant bull flag. If we bounce on the middle line, which happens to also be on this major support right here, and we climb out, this might be the time for the breakout. That would bring us up into the $4.50 range if this is the big move to the upside. If not, we could have another dippity do before that. Especially if Bitcoin can't get out of its own way. Let's look at Ethereum. Ethereum, same thing. Came all the way down. Let's get rid of some of this stuff. It's basically following the line that I had before it did that, but bringing it all the way down to the same support level. This line right here, this overall grayed out area that I had. And we're bouncing on it right now. We dipped into it. We did make a higher low here. And we are on our way to hopefully make a higher high and break out here as well. So we might have 3 long signals today sometime if we break out of this downward trending channel, which looks like it could be imminent sometime today, hopefully soon. Back to BTC.
Sorry, Nico, just wanted to quickly check. What is your stop loss on the BTC long that you have set up?
I have one on this trade at 112.093, which is below I think I just put it below this wick, and that was actually last night, and it didn't hit it. So luckily I didn't get stopped out. It's right on that line actually, but that's probably not the best place to have it because we could retest 112. And on this one, I do not have. What do I have here? On this long, I have 116.7 as a TP, but I'm not sure why. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, as a TP. But I think I put that in last night before I went to bed in case it popped up just to this line right here and couldn't get out and came back down for another one. But it never did. So here's my TP up here. I am going to move that to 118.5, which is where I said to put it in the chat, I thought. Let me see. 118.577. Which would be right about here. The reason why is because that is, if we break out and we get out of here, that would just be retesting this upward trending previous support line, this yellow line, as resistance, and we might see the Elliott wave actually play out where this comes back down after that. So that would be at the 119 is where I think it would hit. So I put my take profit at front run that a little bit. As far as stop loss, I would say put it underneath the 112, somewhere in the maybe 111.900 or 111.8. But we could certainly wick down that low. So if you do get stopped out and it comes back above 112 after that, I would just re-enter.
I got stopped out yesterday night. Should I wait or re-enter the trade? Because right now we're hovering at the same level what your signal was posted, 113.5, something like that.
Yeah, I would have. Sorry, I didn't know. I would have said re-enter, but yeah. Well, it's getting close to this possible breakout right here. So I think that if it stays in this little channel and comes down one more time for a double bottom here, that would be a better entry. But if we pop above, 114 right now, if we get back above 114, that means we're breaking out of this downward trending resistance, and this 114 line, red line that I have right there, that would probably be a good entry.
Okay.
If it breaks above that. If not, just wait. It might come down and double bottom here at 112 one more time before it breaks out. But I'm hoping that this one touchdown right here to the 112,300 was enough, because we did touch, I mean, back here, we dipped down to 111.8 before bouncing. But we'll know here shortly if this pops above or not.
Hey, Nico, are you looking at an XRP trade anytime soon?
Yep, I just said a minute ago that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I just, but if we're it's kind of in the same boat. It's correlating with Bitcoin right now, but if we're bouncing, which it looks like we are, bouncing on this center line right here. This is the center line of the bull flag here. A lot of times, remember what I said, before we break out, we usually come back down and retest the center line. And this center line just also happens to be on the major, support and resistance level. We have resistance, support, and we're hitting it again right now at the exact juncture of the center line, and it's starting to climb. This might actually be a good entry. I'm going to go ahead and take an entry here on XRP with lower contracts and lower leverage, just in case. But I'm going to put my stop loss underneath this wick here at $2.80. It's kind of far away, but percentage wise. But I'm not necessarily risking a lot, but as you can see here, we do have lower lows, and we do not have a higher high yet. Other than this, we did have a lower low, and we did get higher than this little bounce price right here, but we haven't held above it yet. So I'd like to see us hold above this, and then obviously get above this. And more specifically, if we take a downward trending resistance line and just kind of do one of these, you'll see we need to break out of this little. Which is probably imminent as well, just like Bitcoin. We're winding into this tight apex right here. I did just go ahead and enter long, and I put a stop loss under this wick in case none of this happens. Because if this doesn't happen for XRP, it's not happening for Bitcoin, and Bitcoin could drop lower, and all of this will go lower. And so will Ethereum. I'll only go over Ethereum. I'll probably do the same thing over there. Ethereum is pumping all the way up to the top of this downward trending channel right now. It needs to break out of this resistance, which was support and resistance here, and this downward trending channel here. As you can see, it's very close. It's right there. If it breaks out of that, we're going up. If it bounces, we might be coming down for another double bottom before breaking out or before going lower. But the fact that it already dipped into this and double bottomed here, a higher low, generally speaking, that's a good sign. We got higher lows and higher highs. This could be the time. They were all just correlating with Bitcoin, and Bitcoin came down to the 112. And maybe if Bitcoin's ready to bounce, all of these will follow suit. I'm up $690 on these three trades right here. And waiting to see what happens. I did not put these in. Let's see, which ones did I just do? XRP entry, $2.92. I will go ahead and put that in the chat, because some people who are not on this call will get mad at me. You guys have any questions, you're welcome to ask them while I'm here. I think this is $2.91. Stop loss at $2.80.
Hey, Nico, I was about 20 minutes late. You mind doing a short, like 30-second recap of what you mentioned about BTC?
EP at $4.50 on the XRP trade. Just for now. Just to get it out of the way. We'll see what happens. If we do have big breakouts here, that's what could happen. Let me just go back here and yeah, hold on one second. Let me just give keep my train of thought here. Guys, that's why we record these videos. So in case you missed something, go watch the replay because we have 100 and some odd people on this, 170 people on this who don't necessarily need me to repeat anything, but I apologize if you make it late, but it's not really fair to everyone else for me to have to go over something unless everybody wants me to, because I'm going to go over Bitcoin anyway. I'm going to go back to Bitcoin, but give me a second here. All right, so this is XRP.
Nico, when you get a second, can you go over adding to your contract size or just what's beneficial or just doing a whole new trade?
For which one?
On it doesn't matter, just in general, would we just add to contract size or should we just start a new trade?
I mean, if you're already in a trade, there's no reason to close it and add a new trade. I mean, it depends on what you're trying to do. If you're in a trade and it's going the direction you want it to go, and you want to add contracts, you just come over here and put the amount of contracts you want to add, the value right here, and just click. Like if I'm already long, I click long again. It's just going to add to my existing trade, and this will adjust. The entry will move up according to where my new position is. So if I went long here, right here at $2.92 on XRP, and it goes up to here, let's just say $3.25, and I want to add another 16,000 contracts. As soon as I do that, this entry will move up 50% of the way between where it is now and where my new entry is. And now I'll have 32,000 contracts. It'll move up according to how many contracts you add. If you add the exact same amount that you already had, then it'll move up 50% of the way between where your original entry was and your new entry is. If you add a smaller amount, it'll only move up a little bit. If you add a larger amount, it'll move up a lot more. So your entry will change to whatever the new entry is that you added, but you won't lose anything from the original trade. The percentage gain might change because now you're trading with more at a new location, at a new starting point, but you still capture your profit that you were already in is not going to change. Does that make sense? Yes.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Who was it that asked the question about Bitcoin? What did you need to know? I think you just wanted me to recap, but this is Bitcoin right here. This was the original bull flag that we were in before we broke out and went up to a new all-time high of 124 up here. We broke this green line, which was the previous all-time high of 123, but we did not hold above it. As you can see, we just went above it and fell back below. And then we fell into this falling wedge, which normally does break to the upside. And this falling wedge brought us all the way back down to retest the 112, which we just did at 112.306. That was the low right here. And it looks like we might be bouncing out now. It's breaking above not only the downward trending resistance line, but it has done that a few times. It could just wick above it and fall back below. But it also needs to get above this red line, which is the 114. And if it just gets above that and holds, boom, boom, then I'm obviously staying in this long that we already were in and riding it up. And I have a TP at 1.9. I have a TP at 118.5 right up here, because this is the bottom of the upward trending resistance going all the way back to when we were at 74K down here. By the way, let me just go to a higher time frame and show you guys something, because this falling wedge right here that brought us all the way down after breaking out of 73.5, 73.8 here, which is the previous, basically the previous all-time high right here at 68K. When we broke up back in March of last year and broke 73.5, we went into this 280-day bull flag. When we broke out of that, we retested here, boom. First we popped up and hit the previous all-time high, 68K. We came down and retested the bull flag. Then we broke through the previous all-time high all the way up to 73.8, which is this high. We came back down and retested, and then we broke out to new all-time highs. And we got up here to 93K, then we got to 99, then we got to 104, then we got to 108. We pulled all the way back and then retested, reattempted at 109 here, double topped. And then we fell into this long falling wedge, which took about from January 19th all the way down to April 12th. 3 months of falling wedge before we broke out and then climbed all the way up to new all-time high at 112. And then we did it again. And then we bounced on this upward trending support, broke out again, went all the way up to 123, did it again, wicked down to previous resistance at 112, and broke out and went up to 124 and came back down. This is the first time since here, since 73.5 or since 74.5 here, that we broke below this upward trending support. Every time we hit it, we bounced. This time we did not. We bounced for a second and then fell through. And now, and what did we do? Another big falling wedge right down to the previous resistance, which is 112. We're bouncing now. Big green candle right now. And if I go to the Heikinashi, you will see it's probably the first one. Well, it's still not green. Still showing all red right now on Heikinashi, but this candle could be turning green any second as it's starting to pop out of here. If we go to the regular candlesticks, it is green now. But I think that the most it's going to come up is probably 119, which is right here where this yellow line is. Now, it can certainly blow through that, and we want it to, but it has to get back above that line in order for us to reach a new all-time high, because that was the long-running upward trending support that we did break below, and now we're just coming up. We're going to come up to retest it here. If we can't get through it and we just retest it and bounce, we're going to possibly come back down and retest the 112 again. Or maybe even worse. Maybe that is the beginning of something else. But right now, looks like we possibly are breaking out of the downward trending falling wedge. Let's go back down to a lower time frame, take a look at it again. This is it, giant falling wedge. Looks like we're popping out right here. At least right now it does. We'll see. This is just a strong candle. Profit on all of the 3 trades that we're in. Well, I'm in 2, which is just Bitcoin and XRP, but I have 2 open Bitcoin trades, one in USDT and one in Bitcoin margin. And let's go quickly over to my trading view chart. On the daily, you can see we did come down to the 112. Where is this? Hold on a second. Why is that crooked? $112. We did double hit it here and we wicked to it here, and we do have green here. And on this one, you see this, there's 2 different upward trending support lines. I don't have one of them on here right now. This is it right here. I'll show you. I'm going to take a line from here, right down here, and run that up all the way. This is where we broke out of that upward trending support. But this one, I'm going to change the color just so it's not so confusing here. This one here, make it orange. This one goes all the way back to 2021. This is the top upward resistance line. And we hit it here, 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 broke through here, retested here, and we are bouncing on it also. Not only did we retest this 112, but we were kind of teetering on that as well. So we want to stay above that. Is it probable for BTC to grab liquidity around 114.5 and drop back down? It's possible. Is this the 15-minute time frame? Let's see, you asked that question 10 minutes ago, so I'm not sure what chart I was on. Try to be as specific as possible, guys, when you ask questions, because by the time I see the question, I might not even know what you're talking about. Let me go back. I am on the 1 hour time frame on Bitcoin here, but I don't know what I was on when you asked the question, so it's possible I was on the 15-minute. Actually, I probably wasn't on the 15-minute. I usually go from the 10-minute to the 1 hour. So I'm on the 10-minute right now. Does look like we popped above it, came back below, popped above it. We are double topping on the 10-minute, this little level right here. But are we going to bounce here this time and climb up? That's what we want. We want to bounce and continue. We have support, resistance, 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 breakthrough, support, breakthrough. And you can see clearly resistance on that candle, breakthrough, support on that candle, breakthrough, breakthrough, support. So major support and resistance happening. It's trying. It did break through. It is trying to hold above it. That's what needs to happen. We need to bounce here and climb above this high right here. That would be the most precise entry right here, is for us to bounce here and get above this, because once we do that, then we're out of this downward trending falling wedge. This looks promising here. Obviously, this was a better entry down here, but if you didn't make that, just notice we have a low, a higher low, but we don't have a higher high yet. So we need this to bounce, and we need a higher high. And then what will happen is, if we get a higher high, then we might get a higher low. And then we're off to the races. Higher high, higher low, higher high, so on and so forth. Then we have what could be considered a rising wedge. But it's either way, it's a trend reversal. The overall trend, sorry guys, the overall trend is downward. And then if we break out here, we would have a trend reversal. And again, I put my TP up here at the 118.5 because I think that 119 right about here would be the resistance level that it could come to, which is right about here where we had both resistance, support, resistance, resistance, support, support, resistance, resistance before dropping at 119. And so what I would want is my TP to get hit at 118.5 before hitting the 119. Let's just look at your liquidity question. We do have liquidity here at 114 to 115, all the way up to 115.5. This changes. So what you see here, once we break through a certain level here, maybe 114, there's going to be a lot more liquidity up here probably. Let me look at some different platforms, see what they got. I think we're definitely going to go. So what it would look like possibly is coming up. Hitting getting that liquidity somewhere right in here, taking it out and coming back down to retest. And that retest could be down further. It doesn't necessarily have to be here. This could be like this. I just don't know yet because we haven't seen this come up higher and make a higher high, and we haven't seen this come down and make a higher low yet. That's all just projection right now. I don't really know. That's like trying to read the future. We got to get above this. We got to get out of this little trap right here. So we did get above this line, which is the 114. And then we came back down to 113.9 or so and bounced on this downward trending resistance and also this horizontal resistance, hopefully as support. So it needs to bounce off that. If it doesn't, guys, and we double top here and it comes back down into this downward trending channel, then we might have a little bit more time to go before it breaks out. And then it would look like this, where it comes down and maybe comes all the way down this time to the 112 or 111 range before bouncing out. That's possible. That's why patience is a virtue. Sometimes you got to wait for these things to happen. You know, if you're scalping, you just close out the trade, take the profit and wait for the next trade setup. I could have scalped $700, $800, $900 already. Now it's back down to 600. If this drops and starts to come back down, I'm going to lose this potential profit here. So what would be smart for me? Would it be smart for me to just take it and wait for the next trade setup? But if I take it and it bounces and then goes up, then I'm going to have a worse position than I have right now. My entry is down here on this one. So it'd be better if I stay in it. But if it comes down and then I go negative, then I run the risk of losing this potential profit here that I could have taken. So I'm going to wait and see if we break back below this line. It looks like it's just trying to, the next candle just opened on the 10-minute. Looks like it's trying to hold above it. Let's just see if it bounces or starts to fall back through. Looks like it could fall back through. Let's go look at liquidity again. I don't really see any reason for it to drop, but we certainly could. This was promising this higher low here, but this not good. Double top, couldn't make a higher high yet. But you know, we could come all the way over first and hit this one more time before breaking out. Might just be having a hard time getting and staying above this resistance line right here. Let's look at some other things that are kind of important. We do have, let's go look at the stochastic RSI on the weekly. It is bearish. We are dropping still on the weekly. Let's look at the daily is almost at the bottom, not quite yet. And the hourly already turned up and crossed the orange line to the upside, and it's reaching the 80 on the RSI, which is this dotted line. The orange line is now following suit. It is far away. That's wide. That's potentially good. But as you can see, sometimes when that happens, the blue line crosses the orange line to the upside and they get far apart from each other and they start to go up. The price does go up, but where to? It only went up to the resistance line, which is the downward trending resistance. Right here, that could be the same thing happening, where right now this blue line could cut back down and then we could have wicked above the downward trending resistance like we did here, here, and then just come back down. So this is why sometimes sitting on your hands is good. It could be above it. But I think it's time. It's time for a breakout. So we just wait. This falling wedge can't get any further down than the major support, which is the 112, which we did bounce on. So let's just see. Go back to the 10-minute. looks like that little candle that was starting to form after this one, it went down to here in red, is now turning green again. We did not get a lower low. We got support. Looks like we got support on this line so far. We shall see. It's very, very uncertain. So I've seen some comments in the Discord chat. I'm not trading Bitcoin because Bitcoin is to this or to that. I think that a lot of times people are just waiting for immediate gains or immediate pump to some high level or immediate drop to some low level. And sometimes it just takes time for these things to play out. And you got to be willing to sit on your hands and wait. Watch the paint dry for a little while before you see the finished product. And I know that's difficult when you're new and impatient and uncertain about what you're doing. So when you connect the dots and see the matrix, you will relax a little bit. John Larson, I'm in a short from 123.8. Let's go 90K. Well, that was a great entry for you. Congratulations, John. That's awesome. I don't know about 90K, but it's certainly possible. We would need to break below the 112, obviously, first. But man, that was a killer entry. I did go short at that price too, but I've already taken profit since then a few times. Keith says delayed gratification is a lost art. Certainly is. I mean, when we see these guys wallets that are just coming active now, there was 10 over the last 30 days. You guys might have heard me talk about it. 10 Bitcoin wallets, each with over $1 billion worth of Bitcoin that have been inactive for a decade. Their initial investment was $7,000 each with $1 billion worth of Bitcoin 10 years ago. And they didn't touch these wallets. Now, how many of you would have not cashed out at 10 million, 20 million, 50 million, 100 million, 200 million, 300 million, 500 million, 600 million, 700 million? How many of you would have the stick-to-itiveness and the discipline to just keep holding during all that? All the ups and downs, all the good news and bad news, the months and years, rainy days, good days, crypto's dead, crypto's alive, all of the rules, all of the bad news, and just stayed calm and focused and just held through all of that. Absolutely crazy.
Not me. There's no way.
Yeah. I mean, we got life to live, right? But these wallets, now these are people that must know something. There's 10 of them, and it could be the original founders, could be the original core group, the Satoshi Nakamotos. And by the way, if you think that's just one person somewhere who invented Bitcoin, I'm not so sure that's the case. There was a group of people, and these are all the same people that also probably created XRP and Ripple. And Bitcoin was the first attempt. And Elon Musk might have been one of them. By the way, all of these founding members of PayPal and oh shit, there's Yelp. I mean, there's like a dozen huge multi-billion-dollar and trillion-dollar companies that this group of people all created, and they're all super rich right now. But back when they formed their little pack, they started all this stuff. Now, I'm not saying that I know for sure about Bitcoin, but there's a lot of evidence pointing to the same developers. And it's just a coincidence that there were 10 wallets, all with the same amount, that all waited a decade before they came alive or before they went inactive and started moving Bitcoin around. And that kind of makes me a little concerned because if somebody knows something, why now? And by the way, would you come active right when you hit $1 billion worth of Bitcoin and then start moving crypto around to buy more, to sit on it longer, or to sell? What would be the reason?
they obviously are not in need of money. So they are, right? They didn't.
Cody, you're kind
Maybe
of
I'll,
go ahead, bud. You're breaking up though. I can't. You're kind of going in and out.
Yeah, sorry, I had my AirPods in. Yeah, I just think that whoever's wallets they are, they aren't in need of money. And so now maybe they're gonna go buy a yacht or something. Maybe, I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, people who want money to buy a yacht are not that patient.
I say sell. They connected to sell.
Or maybe they connected to put it to work in DeFi.
Buy a pony.
Yeah, or they were the developers of XRP and Ripple, and they finally got that to where it needs to be. And it's going to take over as the new. Now, the thing is that Bitcoin is not going to be the financial. Bitcoin is not going to be money. It's not going to be used as a medium of exchange. It's not going to be the financial, pass through, like what do they call it? The Swift network, because it's not a fast blockchain technology. The improvement, if it was the same developer, if it was the same group of people, the improvement was Ripple and XRP. XRP was the second run, like Bitcoin 2.0. And then they finally worked out all the bugs, and then they get all of the backing and they get all of the bankers in line. And then all of a sudden they take that to the moon. They take that as a global payment structure, the global payment gateway, and Bitcoin just remains as a store of wealth. And Bitcoin just remains as a commodity or something to hold your money in as a hedge fund. Like a beta test coin, like Kimmel just said. Yeah. And so if that's true, and I don't know that it is, Bitcoin will still, banks and governments will still hold lots of Bitcoin, and Bitcoin will continue to go up in value. It is a limited supply. It is a finite supply, and it will be as a store of wealth type of situation, kind of like gold is. I mean, you're not carrying around, even if you're buying gold bars and gold coins and put them in your safe, you're not carrying that stuff around. You're not buying Snickers bars at the 7-Eleven with your gold. You're not chipping off little pieces of gold to buy stuff with it. And so you do that for one reason only, and that is a hedge against inflation, because gold holds its value because historically it has. So if Bitcoin replaces gold as the store of wealth and as a liquid gold or a digital gold, not liquid gold, digital gold, then that'll be a more convenient gold. It'll be a more user-friendly gold, an easier to move gold. You can't get on a plane with a suitcase full of gold, but you can get on a suitcase with a. I mean, you can get on a plane with a wallet, digital wallet, with more value than all the gold that you could fit in a suitcase. And so it's the way of the world. That's the new age that we're in. And so with all that being said, I want both. I'm trying to accumulate both, but XRP, I don't think XRP is going to hit $1,000 or $10,000 based on just market cap alone. A lot more would have to change for that to happen. And the burn rate is so minute, like 0.0001 XRP for every so many dollars transacted, that it does become more valuable over time. But I can't see the market cap getting equal to gold anytime soon. But a $10, $20, $30 XRP, yes, I can see that in the short term. But even if it does go to $100, which certainly can happen, it's just not instant. It's going to take time. Then you're looking at maybe what, 100x? Not even 100x. Hold on one second. $100 XRP divided by, what is it now? $1.90. That's a 52x from where it's at now, which is probably more Bitcoin would have to go from 112. That would have to go to like $5.8 million per Bitcoin to see a 52x in Bitcoin, which can and will happen probably also. But at what time frame? How long? How many more years will that take for that to happen?
XRP is $18 per coin at $1 trillion market cap. And that's, I think, easily going to happen. I wouldn't be surprised if it happens here in the next, I don't know. If this bull cycle, maybe.
Yeah, that could. It could. I said previously, and I said over the last few months that I would see somewhere between $5 and $10, probably in this bull market, somewhere in the $7.50 range. And but that also depended on a lot of things that seem to be happening right now with the banking situation and all of the mass adoption happening with Ripple and all their contracts and agreements and the SEC dropping lawsuits and all the things that are actually happening. So it's all good news for crypto. The more you have, the more it will play out. But you gotta be like those guys that hold that wallet and hold that bag for a long period of time to see those huge gains. Now you can trade in the meantime, which is what we do here, and try to accumulate more. But if you're not taking the profits that you make and buying more, or if you're not trading on a coin margin to accumulate more, then you should also be buying and hodling and putting it into your holding account or your cold storage wallet at the same time. If you got money coming out of, like if you work at a job and they're taking money out of your paycheck every week to go into, let's say, a 401k, or you're putting money into the S&P 500 on a weekly basis, things like that, you should probably also be putting some money, buying a small percentage of your portfolio. Some people, small percentage. Me, it's a much larger percentage than the average person into XRP and Bitcoin. And I'm not nervous about that anymore. There's a lot of people like, oh, I don't know. It's still an uncertainty. I don't know about that. Bitcoin has gone up over 10 million% since 2008. Name one other thing. Name one other asset class in the history of our lifetimes that have done that. And if you just look at the last decade alone, from 2014 to 2024, it's averaged 100% per year. The S&P never did that. No Magellan fund, no Warren Buffett fund. None of those have ever done that. Now, businesses have. So the only the thing is, the most profitable thing that you could ever have is a successful business. Of course, a business can go up thousands of percent. You can make thousands of percent gains with a successful business. But can everyone just start a successful business? No. Everyone can buy Bitcoin. Everyone can buy XRP, and you can reap the reward. But Bitcoin, I mean, XRP is, everybody's waiting for XRP to go back down to 50 cents or 49 cents. It may never do that again. And so you're mad now. Oh, well, I'm waiting for it to go down. I'm going to wait for it to dip down to $1. I've seen that happen throughout Bitcoin's history. I've seen so many people wait for Bitcoin to drop back down to 10,000 or drop back down to 5,000. I'll definitely buy this time if it does that. Meanwhile, it goes up another 10,000. Oh man, it's too late now. It's definitely too late now. And then they wait and it goes up another 10,000. And they keep doing this over and over and over again until it's so far out of reach that they realize that they were waiting for something that was never going to happen or never did happen. And now it's going to be much harder for them. So if you think XRP is expensive right now at $2, guys, I mean, let's just go down and look right now where it's at one more time. $3, whatever it is, $2.80. If you think this is expensive, just imagine if you could go back and buy Bitcoin at $2.90, knowing what Bitcoin did. This is kind of where we're at with XRP. Is XRP going to ever hit 100,000? Probably not. But just as sure as Bitcoin, if Bitcoin hits its max, let's say it's 13 million, according to Michael Saylor, $13 million for one Bitcoin. Divided by the 112,000 that it's sitting at right now is a $116 X. From where it's at right now. So buying a Bitcoin now at 112,000 still probably a good idea if it gets to those numbers. And the only reason I believe that it could and probably will is because of the billions and billions and billions and billions that are not only have poured into it from some of the biggest institutions on the planet, but all the billions that are en route and getting ready to pour into it from all the institutions and the states. The individual states are creating their own funds, their own hedge fund, and their own Bitcoin reserve. They're all doing it, guys. Countries are doing it. The president promised 1 million Bitcoins over the next 5 years. That's 100 billion right there worth. And that's only at the value of $100,000. As the price continues up, it's gonna be more. So why would all of these institutions and all these major players be pouring billions into it if they're not believing in it and they're not there for the long term? And why should you not be taking that as a hint? You still can buy it at 100,000, 112,000 right now. So if you can only afford one Bitcoin right now, should you be putting 5% of your income into Bitcoin and the other 50% or 20% of your investment capital into the S&P 500 or into your 401k? Hell no. Your 401k is not making you any money like you think it is. If you start to take out fees, if you count the fees of the administration or the administrator, the actual service provider who's providing the 401k, it's a forced savings account is all it is. It's a forced savings account, which is better than nothing. Don't get me wrong. If you don't have any other choices, then yeah, it's a good idea to have one. You know, you work at a company 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, you got your 401k accumulating there. Yeah. Good idea. If you don't have any other choices. But once you realize that if you were to put the same amount every week into your 401k, instead, you'd be much further along. I mean, if you would have put the same amount in Bitcoin as your 401k, you'd be much further along and much wealthier. But there's no promise of that. It's still unknown. You know, the 401k, at least there's it's guaranteed. No, it's not. What's guaranteed about it? Cash in the bank's not guaranteed. Oh, it is FDIC. It's federally insured up to $200,000, whatever. No, it's not. I mean, it's not. FDIC, Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, is not even the federal government. Then you got taxes, you got everything else. So you gotta outpace all that, guys. You need to make 10% a year on your money just to break even from taxation, from inflation, from deflation, all the things that cause the value and the purchasing power of the dollar to go down. You got to make like 9-10% a year right now, currently, just to break even. So Bitcoin historically over the last decade is averaging 100% per year. Is that going to continue? No. It might go to 60%, then it might go down to 40. Once Bitcoin hits 2 million, 3 million, $4 million, might go down to 20, 30% per year growth. And it might level off at 20%, which is still double the S&P 500. But between now and then, you could see 100% for a couple of years, 80%, 70%, 60%, 50%, 40%, 30%, then 2020, 2020 after that. So I'm not saying to put all your eggs in one basket or put it all in Bitcoin. I'm just saying that if you're just putting 1% of your income into crypto, you might want to rethink that. Especially if the other 4, 5, 6%, like let's say you make $100 a week, just for the sake of this example, and you're putting 10% into investments. That's $10. If you're putting $9 into your 401k and $1 into crypto, you might want to split that up a little bit better. Might want to put 5 of each, or maybe even more in one or the other, but not. You got to pick the one that's growing faster, depending on your age. Also, a lot of times they say that the older you are, the less risky you want to be with the money. That's true to a degree, but if you have enough capital, you can put some of your money in higher risk, high yield, higher, faster growing types of opportunities, and then the rest in slower stuff, more secure stuff. I don't know what your magic number is. If you guys like to share it, feel free to put it in the chat. How much do you need? How much is your number? Like if you just had this amount, you'd be set. What is that number? Everybody's a little different, but go ahead if you want to share it. I'll give you my opinion if you want it. John Larson says 500K to 1 million. Michael, 10 million. Cody, 1,000 Bitcoin. 4 million net. 5 million. 2.5 million, 5 million, 5 million, or 500K. 5K per month. 500K. I'm happy off the grid. All right. 4.5 to 5 million. 2 million, 2 to 3 million, 1 million, 5 million. All right. Well, everybody's different, guys, so I can't tell you what you should or shouldn't want for yourself. Sun Evil says 50 bucks. You got more than that, buddy. 5 to 10 million, 3.5 million in today's dollars. In 20 years, may need 10 million. Yeah, unfortunately, millions. Man, when I was a kid, $1 million was like, oh my God. A house that cost $1 million was like amazing. It was a mansion. Now you can barely get an old 50s, 1950s 3-bedroom house in a regular neighborhood for 600 grand here in Florida. $1 million doesn't get you much anymore.
Remember the old Batman show, Bruce Wayne, millionaire.
Yeah. Or the $6 million man. Even that was like $6 million.
I remember when he fought the $7 million man.
Keith says, yep, welcome to South Florida. Yeah, it's nuts, guys. So why is that? Is it things are costing more, or the value of the US dollar is just going down? The purchasing power is going down. The more they print, the more useless it becomes. That's why having any cash sitting around, yeah, I mean, we all want money. We're all investing to have more money, but more money just sitting there is just going down in buying power. So unless you're investing in assets that actually go up in value or spit out cash flow for you so that you don't have to trade your time for the money anymore, that would be the ultimate goal. If you could save up, let's say $2 million and put that in some kind of Magellan fund, I think there's some funds out there that will pay, I forget what it is. You could have a $250,000 a year income with a $2 million deposit for life. Very safe, very secure. But is that enough? 250,000 a year divided by 12, 20,000 a month. That sounds like a lot to some people, but depending on where you live in this country, if you move to a condo in Miami, you can go through 20 grand very easily. Not just on your rent and your lifestyle and your car and your dinner and your entertainment and all that stuff. But if you move to Oklahoma, you could live very rich. If you move to the Philippines, you're a king. If you move to Thailand or something like that, then 20 grand a month, you're basically super rich and you can afford whatever you want. But it all just depends on where you live. And also taxes are important. If you learn how to use the right business structures and entities and trust and holding companies and LLCs to invest in and things like that, and understand how to take a salary from those entities as an employee, smaller, you can make $1 million a year, but if you pay yourself 120,000 a year as the manager of the entity making the $1 million a year, then you're basically paying income tax on the 100,000 a year. And then the entity would then be the one that you're managing would be the one investing in real estate, crypto, whatever else that you're buying. And you as the manager, maybe that entity also, because you're an employee of that entity, requires you to dress a certain way, to travel a certain way, to eat at finer restaurants, all those kinds of things, because you're the one managing the entity. You might have some perks there. And so you use the entity debit card or the entity's credit cards to finance and pay for all of the write-offs and all the business expenses, which you are basically managing and in control. So that's how they do it, guys. That's how they do it. So they reduce their tax liabilities to down to almost nothing as managers of trust or managers of holding companies. And those holding companies, no matter how much money those things make, they're investing it all into other things to grow the wealth. And so they're diverting the tax liability down to almost nothing. And even people like Jeff Bezos has $120,000 a year salary. He just bought a $200 million yacht. Do the math. How is that? Because he didn't buy the yacht with income, because he doesn't have hardly any income. He bought the yacht with borrowed funds that he borrowed against his stock portfolio, and he put it into the corporation that is the owner of the stock portfolio. Mark asked, is the Jackson Hole meeting today or tomorrow? Not sure what you're referring to.
That's today at 1 p.m. Eastern time. So it's probably going on right now.
FOMC.
Oh, the Fed meeting, yeah. So these are things that I think a lot of people who are in no position to be worried about are worrying about. How I want to structure it so I don't pay taxes. I want to do all this, and you don't even have a dollar yet. So I always recommend make the money first. And then worry about how to structure your taxes later. Yeah, if you create a taxable situation first. And I think a lot of people get in their own way and tied up in all of these what ifs, or how do I do this? I don't want to do anything wrong. I don't want to owe any money. I don't want to get in trouble with the IRS. I'm like, well, how much crypto are you talking about moving? Oh, I got $250 in this crypto and I'm like, the IRS doesn't even know you exist and doesn't even care at this point. You got to make like more than $5,000 in profit before you might have a taxable event, depending on where you made the profit at and how you're structured. So let's just get making money first and stop worrying about anybody else but yourself, especially the IRS. It's the last person I worry about, the last group of people or company I worry about. If they want to knock on my door, I'll have a talk with them. But until then, and by the way, they've done that before 20 years ago. Yeah, you got to keep up to date with it. You got to you got to worry about it to some degree, but before you start setting up structures and entities and sophisticated tax reduction strategies, you need to have something to work with. Even smart and honest accountants and CPAs are not going to waste their time creating some complex tax loophole strategy to get you to reduce your tax liability using C corporations and things like that. Because most accountants will say, oh, you're going to get double tax. You shouldn't operate in a C corporation unless you're making $20 million a year. Otherwise, you're going to have double taxation. Well, how do you get double taxation if only one thing is generating the income? And the reason why is because if you're paying yourself out of the C corporation, then technically speaking, you will be taxed as income from the C corporation, and then the C corporation will be taxed. That's double taxation. But if you're paying yourself, if your C corporation is making $2 million a year and you're paying yourself $100,000 a year, then you're paying income tax on the $100,000 a year, and you're paying corporate tax on the rest of it. And that corporate tax is lower than your personal income tax. So it's a better way to do it. Plus, it allows you to do things you can't do as an individual. You can invest in real estate without becoming a professional real estate investor. See, if you're doing it as an individual, you have to jump through some hoops. You have to apply with the IRS to categorize yourself as a real estate professional. And in order to do that, you have to have like 10,000 hours of real estate activity. And you got to show that the majority of your income comes from real estate. So if you have a successful business and you happen to be investing in real estate, but all the money that you make comes from your successful business, very hard to prove you're a professional real estate investor and that all your money comes from real estate when it doesn't. But if you have a C corporation and you invest in all your real estate through the C corporation, you don't need to qualify as a professional real estate investor. You can do it through the corporation. Most CPAs and accountants not only don't know this, but they don't even tell you, even if they did know. Most CPAs and bookkeepers or accountants can't even tell you about all the strategies. Legally, they don't, for a lot of times they don't know about it. And no offense to anybody who in here who is one. It's just that they can't even talk about it. But you're allowed to have tax strategists and tax attorneys that can tell you about these strategies and all the loopholes and all the things. And then you can work with your CPA and accountant to implement them. Ed says, and he's a CPA accountant, he says they don't. Every year I have to argue and tell them how to do it, looking for someone better. Yep. Yeah, it's crazy. I've been through a lot of them myself, but you know, if you got a good, and I know some of you have sent me messages asking for our accountant and CPA. I promise I will send you their information, just getting structured and set up. And I want to make sure things get set up properly first before I share their information, but I will be putting that in the important links section. And because I also want them to know that you guys are coming from our group. And it also depends on your income. It depends on what you do for a living. Depends on all kinds of things, how you make your money, what you're invested in. There is no cookie cutter when it comes to tax strategies. It all just depends on what your current situation is. Some people invest in things that they can write off, and some people invest in real estate, and some people have other types of structures and entities, multiple trust and LLCs and C corporations and S corporations and living trust and irrevocable trust and revocable trust. So many different ways, guys. But it all just depends on how complex your situation is. If you just make money and you have one income stream and you're profitable, income minus expenses equals profit. That's what you're paying taxes on. But depending on what you do with the money after you make it or where it gets paid to, simply taking money from your business checking account into your personal checking account is a distribution, and that is now considered your personal income. But if your business, instead of paying you, goes into a holding account or a C corporation, and then you work for that as a employee, and you just take a payroll check every week for managing everything, then you are now only being taxed as a W-2 earner or a W-2 income from your work for that entity. You're no longer necessarily the owner of it. You're not responsible for the total income of that structure personally anymore. Now, but because you technically set up that structure and that entity, you will have to have legal counsel to make sure that you are keeping track of all where the money's going and what it's invested in and where the bills are being paid from and all that stuff. And so there's minutes, there's all kinds of things you got to do, but you can legally reduce your personal income tax liabilities down to the minimum amount possible. All right, while I'm sitting here shooting the breeze, guys, I'm sorry I'm waiting. We're watching paint dry here. Nothing's really changed other than XRP did hold above this line I drew. Remember, I told you what it needs to do. Boom, boom, went above it. It is bouncing on it right now. It still needs to get above this overall downward trending resistance line, but that is telling me, well, I don't know, Bitcoin is having a hard time holding above its little level here. Let's go back and look at Bitcoin. And it's still holding. It's still holding. But We did dip a little bit below it, came back up, and then it's kind of holding above it right now. I am still profitable on all three of these trades at the moment. Not a huge amount. But it's teetering. It's teetering. It is bouncing above this downward trending resistance as support so far. It might just be working its way over to this upward trending support line before bouncing out. Yeah, not many, Julie, not many business accountants or business tax strategists understand crypto. They're probably getting to that point where they are hiring and bringing on people and training them or getting them trained in tax and crypto tax. But, you know, because of the laws that are changing and the Genius Act and all these things that Trump's trying to implement and put into place, and firing 25,000 IRS agents all at the same time, and trying to put through Congress, basically, he's trying to abolish the income tax and get it to where tariffs are going to make up for that loss in revenue. If all that happens, guys, all of this is a moot point, and things might change drastically over the next year or so. That would be great. It's all possible. Yeah, the way it was supposed to be, Bill. Yeah, Bill Cook says. Cheryl says, how do you get to the liquidity screen and what does it tell us? That is, you can go into Discord and you can go to the help desk. Right here. Go over to the pinned messages and go down to CoinGlass liquidation heat map. Once you click on that, it's going to pull this up. It's coinglass.com. Liquidation heat map for crypto. Obviously, there's different heat maps, so you got to make sure you're on the right one. Just click the one that Bill has. And this is Bitcoin. Now, over here, you can change different. These are different exchanges. You got Binance, Gate, Bybit, BitGet, Hyperliquid, Binance, MEXC, all these different platforms, right? Even Phemex is probably in here somewhere, but Kraken, CoinEx, BitMEX. What I do is I tend to stick to Binance, BTC, USD, not USDT, Binance. Binance is the largest. It's the one that congregates, I believe, the most data from all the other ones, or they all kind of congregate mostly from Binance. So that's just the one I stick to. I go to the 12-hour, I click the refresh button, and it's kind of showing me where the liquidation heat map is. This is the liquidity threshold bar right here. If I slide this down a little bit, you're going to see where more liquidity is at lower dollar amounts. I mean, it's everywhere, guys. It's everywhere. It's not, but when you have it at the highest, this is just showing the most money up here. And the bright yellow is up here in the $17 million range or above. Just because you don't see much down here doesn't mean it's not there. It's just a lesser amount. But generally speaking, the price does tend to gravitate towards the liquidity eventually. So I think we're going to pop up here, probably to the 115, 116. And once we get through that, guys, it's going to look like this. Let me show you what it looks like when that happens. It's going to look like this, where we cut through right here. See, this was liquidity. We come down and cut through it, cut through it, cut through it, cut through it, cut through it. Here's some more, cut through it. You see, this liquidity that we see here in brighter colors was not here, but now it's here. And then it comes down a little lower. Same thing here. It's showing here, but once we cut through it, more will show up here and so on and so forth. We could continue to climb after that. So what you're seeing is not always exactly what is going to be there an hour from now or 5 hours from now or 10 hours from now. But And then there's different models up here. I'm on model 2. If you go to model 1, that's the original model. Let me just go to BTC USD again and go to the 12-hour. You can see it's a little different looking. And then if I go to model 3, I think this is a paid version, but I think you can get around it. Definitely got more above us than below us at the moment. Gene, USDT versus USD. Why? No reason. USDT is pegged to the US dollar, so I just prefer to use the original. It's kind of like, why buy a Corvette that looks like a Ferrari? Corvette versus Ferrari. Why? Well, the Corvette looks like the Ferrari. The new Corvette looks like a Ferrari. So, but is it a Ferrari? No. So I'll just go to the main one. I know that my logic sometimes is oversimplified, guys, but you can do it either one, doesn't matter. You can look at USDT. You can look at, in fact, it might not even look much different. Let's go to model 2 and I'll show you. Let's go to Binance USD, like the one I was on, 12-hour. This is what it looks like. If I switch this to Binance USDT, looks very similar. Might even look like more liquidity up here. There actually is more money in USDT than US dollar, and that's why there is a difference. So the fact that we're trading on platforms like Phemex and Bybit and Mexi, and most people are trading on a USDT margin, might make more sense to actually look at the USDT, right, than USD. But the majority of the money it's all pegged to the US dollar. So, but I don't think it matters. I think you're going to see very similar heat map, but maybe it's even more accurate USDT, to be honest with you, now that I think about it, just because of the amount of traders using USDT. But I trade on a Bitcoin margin, and I trade on a Bitcoin margin not against USDT, but against USD. And so I think a lot of people are also trading like that. Bitcoin is having a little bit of a time holding above this right now. Bill just shared the link in the Zoom chat as well for those of you who are looking for it. If you can't find it in the Discord. I forgot. Somebody asked me a question. Let me go back and see if I can find it. By the way, thank you guys so much for all the help on the YouTubes. Appreciate that. Make sure you send me. I know a lot of you posted in the main chat that you did that, but send me a DM as well, so that way I keep track of everybody, because that way I'm going to put you guys on a special list. Me randomly rewarding people for just being cool. I can't find the message. Someone asked me a message in the DMs, but I can't remember what it was. I said I would go over it. Oh, I think I found it. Joe asked, are we sticking out as an easy target to market makers by having 100 plus stop loss orders that are exactly or very close to the same with the signals? Seems like our stop loss orders are often scooped up buy a wick, and then the price does an about face. I have often played Lucy with the football and moved the stop loss very slightly to avoid the stop loss hunter's wick. Not sure if this could actually be a reality in a market at the level of BTC or not, if anything different. So basically, the answer is yes. And so this is how we do. This is how we combat that. So, guys, when you're the right way, okay, let's just say that we were going to give a long signal right here on the bounce at 112. If you really want to be real precise, you want to come over here to long positions. It's like 1, 2, 3, fourth down, long position, short position. So you click on long position and you, right when you're, wherever I give the signal, let's say I said go long at 112. So you're going to put this right on 112, or Chad gave the signal. You put this right on 112 and you're going to click that. And let's say I put the TP at 119. I'm going to put this up to 119. All right. Which is this blue line up here. Boom, 119. And you want at least a 4-to-1 risk to reward ratio. Well, right here, it's already 7 and almost 7.5 to 1. So that means if you put you would put your stop loss right at the bottom of this red box, which in this case would be 111,187. Okay. So should you go long right now? I mean, let's say it was hitting this. So what some professional traders do is they wait. So what you do is before you enter this trade, you put a line here where you're going to put your stop loss. Okay. And then you do not enter the trade at 112 until it wicks down to where the stop loss was. Boom. And that's where you enter. So Nico says go long at 112. Let's just say hypothetical. Stop loss is at 111, 190. You could do that. And you could also do what Joe was talking about. And instead of putting your stop loss there, move it down even more to get it out of the liquidity zone, because that's where stop loss will probably hit and then bounce out. And if you put your stop loss right here where everyone else is doing, right, then you might get taken out with everyone else. So you could move your stop loss further out of the way, out of the liquidity zone, or you could wait and then make this your entry. Make your entry where your stop loss would be. So you don't even enter it. You enter where the stop loss would be. Now, what if it never hits that level? What if the trade was so precise that if you would have got in at 112 and it just bounced and went up and it never came down there, you would have missed that trade? Yes. So if you never want to get stopped out, do it this way. On the other hand, if you enter the trade here at 112, you see where your stop loss should be, and then you move your stop loss further away from that, get it out of that liquidity zone, if that's your risk to reward strategy. But you know, if your risk to reward is 4-to-1 right here, 4-to-1, then your stop loss would be way down here. But that's one way to do it. The other way to do it is if it hits your stop loss and then continues back, you just re-enter the position, make up the money that you just lost on your stop loss rather quickly if the trade turns out to be right. What a lot of people do, I think, is they get stopped out and then they're afraid to get back in because they're like, oh shit, I already lost 10% on that one. I'm not going to get back in. Now, this is risky. No, sorry, but have you noticed that every time you get stopped out, a lot of times it just goes right where you wanted it to go anyway, right after that? So that's what Joe's question was about. If everyone is putting their stop loss in the same spot, doesn't the market maker see that? And the answer is yes, but they're not seeing necessarily your stop loss. They're seeing this. where the liquidity is, which is your stop loss, which is where you would get taken out. So if you move your stop loss up here or somewhere else, less likely to get taken out. That's correct. Derek asked, how do I get the 10-minute interval? Are you talking about on the trading chart? Chat looks like Bill is answering that question, but on the chart, you just come up here right above the chart and you can see the time frames up here, 1 minute, 3 minute, 5 minute, 10 minute, 15 minute. If you don't see the 10-minute, you come all the way to the end where the drop down arrow is, and you click on the one that's missing or the one that you don't see. You click edit, add it, and you just add it. The ones that are circled here are added. If I want to add the 3 hour, I would edit this and click it and turn it on and then, go back. But I just have the ones, I don't need the 3 hour or the 8 hour. The ones that I have showing are the ones that I use the most. And I just have them all lined up across. You can turn every one of them on if you want to and just have them all up here in case you ever want to check it. On Trading View, looks a little different. I have a lot more of them turned on up here, and there's a lot more time frames. You can even go down to the 1 second or the 10 second. 1 second, 5 second, 10 second. I don't use the second charts. All right, guys. So obviously we are bouncing. We did retest. We did bounce on the 112, and we are trying to climb out on the daily. Victoria asks, can you show how we move the stop loss in profit to 10 and 15%? So if you're in a trade already and you're in profit, like for instance, on this long right here, I'm up 13%, which is $360. That is my coin M. Let me go over to coin M and show you. So here I am. Here's my entry and here's my stop loss. My stop loss is still way down here. I'm in profit right now. I could move my stop loss into profit. Now here's one way to do it. I could just grab it right on the chart, put my mouse right over the colored part and click the left button and just move it up right into profit right here and let it go. But you won't really know what percentage that is. If I do it and let it go right now and then click confirm, it is now there. And then I can come down here to TPSL, click on the little pencil and see I'm at 2% into profit. Or you can just come over here without doing what I just did, leave it where it was, and come over here to TPSL, click on the little pencil, go to edit, and type in where do you want it percentage-wise, or the price. So if your current price is, if your entry is where it is, mine is at 113,301, and I wanted to move my stop loss 5% or 10% in profit, I would just come over here, click that, click this, and type it in here. This is the percentage ROI. I can switch that from ROI, P&L, or I can just type in the exact price here. And it will show you down here, the percentage. You see that?
I don't think it'll let you do the negative percentage.
William, you were muted. You were, I couldn't hear you. Could you say that again? Was that you talking, William?
Yeah, excuse me now.
No. I mean, I heard you say that, but you sound like you're 50 feet away from your microphone. Can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so I think on the when you do the TPSL on the percentage, that only counts in your stop loss going negative, or going negative. So it'll be, if you do 10%, it's only going to go down 10%. It won't let you do a negative, which would make you positive in the P&L. So like that, in all actuality, that's a negative. You say like put 10 in there, and you'll see that it goes down to whatever 10% of
10% away, correct. And if you, but if
it won't let you go 10% in the positive direction, in your
Yeah.
direction. It only let you go in the negative direction, and it won't let you add the minus to offset it. Unfortunately, you would have to drag it and get as close to possible to. I mean, it'll show you what the that you're that you were 2%, which would be negative 2%. according to that situation. But you can, kind of do it that way where you can sit there, okay, here,
Yeah, it actually goes back. It doesn't say negative. So in other words, right now I'm 3% positive into profit, but it just says 3. If I put it at 3% negative, it'll just say 3 as well.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's what they're trying to say. And it only works the one direction, which is treating it as, it's going to go against you as a stop loss.
Yeah, unless you move it into profit here on the
And
chart.
then it'll show that it is, like the 2%. But if you actually hit like 3%, then it would go back across your entry point into the negative P&L.
Right. So you want to drag your stop loss into profit here, or put it at a precise price. So let's say I wanted to move my stop loss up here to 113,683. I would just come down here to TPSL and I would type it in here, 113,683, and it will move it to 8% in profit. Down here, it shows in green. Up here, if it goes negative, this will show in red. Right, Marjorie. It'll show in green or red. And if you're positive or negative. So thank you, William and Marjorie. William is correct. If you just hit the up and down arrow, or if you just type in the number here, you can see the difference between positive and negative down here in the green or red. But in order to see positive, you gotta probably put it at the right price that you want it at. Hopefully that helps. What percentage do you wait for to move it into profit? I like to see that I'm at least 15% into profit before I move it to just break even. And right now I am at 15% in a profit on that. And I am more than break even. I'm actually 8% into profit. Let's see, where am I? No, I'm only 3% into profit.
Nico, can you go through how to get element for me again?
Yes. Hold on one second here. You said element?
Yeah, element.
Element does seem to be climbing slowly. Very slow changing happening, but as you can see, we are in an upward trend. We were in a downward trend for 2 years, a year and a half at least, getting lower lows. But here, something changed, something happened. We're having higher highs. We are climbing back up. Sorry, guys, I have
Index tools?
texting me. Say that again.
Are you in Dex tools? How do you obtain it though?
Yeah, so if you go into our Discord group and you go to
Official links.
Official links.
ICOs or yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, ICOs. ICOs down here. And then here's the direct link to Element in Dex Tools. It will bring you to Dex Tools here, which is basically on the Uniswap network. You can go to Uniswap. You don't have to use Dex Tools. Dex Tools is just charting where you can see it better, see the chart. But then you would come over here and you would connect your wallet address, either MetaMask or Trust Wallet or whatever wallet you have Ethereum in. You would need Ethereum in order to buy. So you would have Ethereum in your wallet, and you see it here. Your Ethereum would be on top. You connect your wallet, and you would use Ethereum to buy Element, and then Element would go into your wallet. Then if this, let's just say this shoots up to $2 and you want to sell it, you come back in here and you swap this and you put Element at the top, and then you connect your wallet and you would sell Element back to Ethereum.
Okay, I was going through Uniswap, so thank you.
You can use Uniswap, but you do need the right wallet address to find Element. So we already have it kind of linked into the Dex Tools link that's in our group. Let me see, Element. I have it up here, right there. This is the token address up here, OX, which I think is in our group right here. There it is, Element token address right here, OX6. So Bill already has it in there. If you want to pull it up on Etherscan or go to Uniswap.
And Nico, XYO finally made it to Kraken.
Oh, okay. Let's see, is it already on XYO? I think that's already on Bitcoin's pumping, Ethereum, everything's pumping now. Let's just see. Hold on one second, guys. Yep. So we got ETH breaking out, possibly breaking out. It went above this purple line, which was the resistance. It broke above the downward trending resistance line. This is my little arrow that I just drew. And this is what it's doing right here, right next to where I put my arrow. Let's go down to XRP, see what it's doing. XRP broke above the blue line that I had. Boom, boom, broke above it, held the support, starting to pump. Needs to get above this line as well. Let's look at, did I give a long on XRP? Yes, I went long on XRP, up right now 13%, 156 bucks on that, 500 on this Bitcoin, 580 on that Bitcoin, up $1,250 right now on these three open positions. Let's go back to Bitcoin. Bitcoin USDT breaking up from this little situation that we were in. It held above, it finally popped above. It is making what looks like a higher high here, and this could possibly just will be a continuation of this upward trend. Look what it did. It did this all the way over to touch this line. Like I said, boom, once it hit that, it started to pump up. So there we go on that. Let me get rid of this. We don't need this anymore. Now on this one, I don't have a stop loss on this one. I was being a little rebel. That was this is USDT. I do have a TP at 119. I will put a stop loss on here, and generally I'll just put it in right now. I'll just put it in for like 5%, confirm, just to get it on the board. Right here it is, and I will move this into profit also, right to about 113,650, 113,650, which is underneath this support level right here. As you can see, it held above that some, and it's also below this line. It would have to break this line and come back down, and that's in profit right now. It could still do it. It could still break this and come back down and take me out, but at least I'll make, $400 or $500 if that happens, rather than nothing. And so, and then we'll go on this one, on my Bitcoin US, on my Bitcoin margin open position. I do have my stop loss already in profit at 113,435. I did not put a TP on this one yet. I'm just going to put this upward trending support here. It still looks like it's having a problem breaking out of this little level right here. It did wick above it, but it did not open. It did not hold above it yet, but it did bounce. here so far. And that does look like a nice little bull flag that it broke out of. We want to look at it on the lower time frame here. That would be the bull flag right here. And so I am going to say that this breakout could possibly bring us up to this level right here at the 114.9, which ironically is right here, 114.9 at the top of this liquidity pool. And so that's what's probably getting ready to happen. And guess where that also is? It's right here at 114.9, which is the support, next support level. This sometimes gets too easy, guys, once you really understand what you're looking for. It's like taking candy. Could just close out the trade and walk away with $1,000 and call it a day. Do that every day. Do that once a day. That's $360,000 a year. It's not really difficult to do. Now, what am I playing with to do that? I got 2,500 on this one, 3,500 on this one, and 1,200 on this one. At 15x, 19x, and 25x leverage. But that just comes with confidence in, you know, what you're doing. So
Nico, every time you chart it up and you draw your lines, you always jump down to the 10-minute?
well, when I'm watching and I'm trading live and I'm technically scalping, the 10-minute is just, I don't have to wait an hour for a candlestick to change. And during an hour, like if I go to the hourly right now, these candlesticks are all just one. Like none of them are showing right now. So if I look at the hourly, we just have one candlestick for the last hour. Two for the last 2 hours, right? But if I go back to the 10-minute, I can see that whole bull flag that I just showed you, this whole formation, 10 minutes, 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 breakout, retest, possible bounce. Can't see that on the hourly or the higher time frames. So when I'm scalping or, you know, watching, I bounce back and forth. Obviously I do zoom out to the higher time frames to get a bigger picture. But once I understand where I think it's going, then I'll go down to lower time frames. Generally the 10-minute. I don't usually go to the 5 or the minute or the 1 minute just to place the trades. And plus I can see it better. It's kind of like if I'm going to write a letter to you, I might put on my reading glasses to see it more clearly. If I'm going to get on my computer and have to text or respond to people's emails, I might put on my contact lenses so I can see it clearer. I mean, I can go to my email without my contacts on. I can see who's emailing and read basically what emails I got. But if I want to see it clearly, I gotta get down. I gotta zoom in a little bit, right? And so that's what the 10-minute time frame. The lower time frames are just you zooming in on the local level. I used to use the ant analogy. If you're sitting on a sidewalk, you can see the ants walking around your feet. But you can't see what's going on in the surrounding cities or neighborhoods. If you get in a hot air balloon and go up 100 yards, you can see beyond the trees. You can see much further. You can see what the big picture is of the landscape that you're around, what's around you, but you can't see the ants anymore. So if you want to see the ants, you got to go down on the lower level. If you got to see what's really happening down here. So that's kind of my explanation for it. I think we're about to break out and go up. But I just see it better on the lower time frames.
Hey Nico, it looks just bounced on that resistance.
Which one? I'm sorry.
It looks like ETH just bounced on that resistance.
ETH?
Yeah.
Let me go back and look. Yeah, it's probably gonna break through, guys. It's hitting it. It hit it, broke through. Might be holding a support right now. And depending on where you have your line, to me, it's breaking through.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you because I put a chart in the chat for BTC where you had your line. There was a previous low on the 18th, and it seemed like it was banging his head up against that the whole time. That's what I was wondering. Like, I know it seems like the bears were trying to defend that area, but
Marlon, where did you put it?
It was for BTC. There was a
Yeah, I
low
see.
for it.
I see it now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the chart. Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
hitting what you're talking about, the 114.
Right. And see where that circle is, the other circle is too on the 18th.
Yep.
It looked like it was banging right there. So
Yep. So let me look at that and see where that's at. On BTC, that is, you have yours at the 114.3. I have mine. Yeah, right here. I have mine a little lower than yours. My red line here is at 113.8, 114, but I could move it up a little bit to 114. It's the whole zone, actually. It's kind of like yours wasn't wrong. I mean, where you had yours isn't wrong,
okay.
but let's go back over here. But the breakout to me was the downward trending, the overall downward trending resistance line. This one here from the falling wedge that we're kind of breaking out. But yeah, it still got trapped in between that and that line that you showed on yours. Yours was green. So in other words, if I would take your chart, the one that you just shared, this is what I would do. I would take this. It's going to be easier for me to, let me just copy this. That way I can edit it. Come over here, grab a little ruler. I'm not sure that this is going back. You're only on the 15 minutes, so I think there's another higher high somewhere over here. But also you are on
Yeah, screen got cut off. A little, so.
USDT. It's kind of hard to see here. On yours, it's not showing that you're above it, maybe, unless the higher high is over here, and I got to change the angle here. But on mine, unless that screenshot was before we broke above it, but right now, to me, we're above it. I did go through a couple of these, but that's because yours, I only went from here down. But if I go from the very top, touch these. If I touch these two, we're just coming up to it right now. If I touch this, these two, this one, here we went through it. We hit it here as resistance, broke through, hit it here, and then readjusted underneath as resistance. If I really zoom in, you'll see it. Boom, boom. And then we come back above it, fall back below it. Hit it, break through, fall back below. And then as you can see, we're bouncing on it right here. So I think we're above it right now, but we still got to get through this line. So that line is evident by this resistance, support here. And here, we hit it a couple of times. If we go back far enough, we got support, resistance, support, resistance, support. And probably some more back here somewhere. But anyway, I think we're breaking out. This is, we definitely climbed all the way up to the top, and I think we're above that line right now, and I think we're about to break out. We shall see. We are coming up to the top of the hour, guys, at 2 o'clock. We do have the onboardings, or what's today? Wednesday? Today, basics call. If you are brand new, somebody said in the chat, let me just go back and see. Basics call starting right now, guys. So get on that, especially if you're brand new. If you're brand new and this is the very first call you got on, then you want to get on the basics call right after this at 2 o'clock with Bill. Those are for newer people. Even if you're not brand new and you've been on once before, get on again. That's where they go over all kinds of basics things that you need to know. And that's a great call for you to be on. I'm going to obviously be keeping an eye on this and watching. We're waiting for this breakout. We kind of did break out. As far as I'm concerned, we broke out of the downward trending resistance, but now we're kind of in a wedge right here. And we wicked above. That's a good sign. We wicked above this previous resistance right here, which is probably this same line. If I move that, and just waiting to get above that right now. But I am long, my profit, my stop loss is in profit. Either way, I'll be okay. Any other questions before we wrap it up?
Yep, and sorry I was late. You said you have a TP set it, was it 18? 118?
18.5.
18. Okay.
That's just for now, just keep it out of the way. We could come up and hit, 16. We could come up and hit 14, 114.9. There will be some resistance right here at 114.9 up in this level right here. Obviously, we do have some support here. Support, support, support. There will be some resistance there, but I think overall it'll bring us all the way back up to this level up here, somewhere retesting this upward trending that was resistance it was support, retesting it as resistance. And this orange line right here is my TP at 118.5. I think that's where I got it. It says I have it at 119.1, but I meant to have it at 118.5. So I'm going to move that down to 118.5 right here. But I think we could come all the way up to 119. Yeah, this
Nico,
one,
are you in?
on this one I have it at 118.5. Go ahead.
Sorry, are you in ETH long as well?
I am not. I am an XRP and Bitcoin, but let me go look at ETH real quick. I'm not opposed to getting in it. I wanted to see it break out. And it looks like it's trying to right now. Looks like it's trying to right now, right where I had this breakout line. It's trying. So I want to see it hold above this. It looks like here's a major resistance line, this purple line right here, going all the way back for a while. We had resistance here. And this is the downward trending falling channel. We did break above it right here, but we did that a couple times. I just want to make sure it doesn't fall back into the channel. If that happens, Bitcoin, everything else could fall back into the channel as well. We do have, it could be a situation where it does this, comes back down here, tries it again, and then breaks out. But this could be it. If this holds above this and starts to climb, I would say above the 43.60. If it climbs above 43.60, I will enter a long position and I will put that in the Discord.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Because it did wick up above this and hit it, and now it's coming down to retest. Is it going to hold here above this purple and bounce? Is the question. Is it going to hold here and climb? Or is it going to come back below this? If it does that, then I'm not going to enter long, obviously. But if it holds above this, starts to get back up here, gets a higher than here, and holds this as support, I will enter long here as well. And I will post that in the Discord signal channel if that happens. Until then, guys, I got to wrap it up. Get on the basics call with Bill. He posted the link in the Zoom chat. He also posted it in the main chat in our Discord group, in the trade chat right here, basics call. And he also posted it in the announcements channel right here. No reason to miss that, guys. Get on that. Thank you guys for being here. Appreciate the YouTube support. If those of you don't know what I'm talking about, there is a link. Just go to YouTube in general if you want to help out. I'm not going to share a link. I'd rather you go find it on your own, because that does spur the YouTube algorithms a little bit better. So you go to YouTube, just search my name, Nico Makiris, and then find my YouTube channel, and then just like the most recent videos and comment if you like about what you saw. Watch the videos too if you can, if you have time to do that, because that helps us. It helps with watch time, and it shows that people are watching. And all that does is just cause YouTube to share it with more people. And when they do that, that helps, obviously. Let's just go look at it real quick. Here's what the channel looks like. This video is up to 206 views. This one's got, videos. This one's got 516. So these last three videos here, if you could, click them, watch them, like them, whatever. And then comment, watch them. Oh, I'm not even sharing my screen. Sorry. I meant to be, but this is what it looks like right here. So these three videos, when you come over to the channel, click on videos, and then you'll see the most recent three videos. All right, guys. Thank you for your time today. I appreciate all of you. If you have any questions, ask it in the main chat. If you have something specific for me or Chad, tag us or send me a DM. But if you really want my fast response, I always ask it on these live calls or put it in the main chat and just, at Nico or at Chad. We'll see it faster than in the DMs. All right, guys. Have a great rest of your day. Get on the basis call with Bill.